Tom Reed straightened his formal blue suit as he and Jane West walked through the grand crystal hallway of the Galactic Council chamber. The floating lights above them cast rainbow patterns across the polished floor. 12 alien representatives from across the galaxy sat at the curved table ahead, their faces showing little emotion as the two humans approached. "Remember," Jane whispered, her military background evident in her perfect posture, "show strength but not aggression." Tom nodded. After 30 years of Earth being part of the galactic community, these meetings had become routine. Or so he thought. High Counselor Drell, a tall blue-skinned alien with 4 arms, stood up. His large black eyes narrowed as he looked down at the human ambassadors. "The emergency session of the Galactic Council is now open," Drell announced, his voice translated perfectly through the small devices in the humans' ears. "We have gathered today to discuss the Earth problem." Tom blinked in surprise. "Problem? I wasn't aware of any." "Silence," barked Counselor Vex, a reptilian being with scales that changed color with his mood, currently a threatening deep red. "You will speak when permitted." Jane's hand moved to Tom's arm, a signal to stay calm. They had faced alien prejudice before, but something felt different today. High Counselor Drell touched a crystal on the table, and a hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed Earth's rapid development over the past 30 years, how humans had taken alien technology and not just copied it but improved it. How Earth ships were now venturing into previously unexplored sectors. How human military forces had grown. "In merely 3 decades," Drell said, "humans have advanced at a pace that took other species centuries. You are too unpredictable. Too aggressive. Too dangerous." Tom stepped forward. "With respect, Counselor, our advancement has benefited all. Our medical techniques have saved lives across the galaxy. Our trade has brought prosperity. Your kind spreads like a disease," interrupted another council member, a gaseous being contained in a floating orb. "Always questioning, always challenging the established order." Jane couldn't stay silent anymore. "Is progress now considered a crime? We came to the stars in peace. But for how long?" Drell asked. "We have studied your history. War after war. Destruction of your own environments. Constant conflict. Now you bring these tendencies to the stars." The council members murmured in agreement. Tom felt a chill run down his spine as he realized what was happening. "This isn't a discussion. You've already decided something." Drell nodded slowly. "A vote was taken before you arrived. It was unanimous." "A vote on what?" Jane demanded, though she already feared the answer. "Earth is hereby banished from the Galactic Council," Drell announced. "All trade agreements are terminated. All technology sharing ends immediately. A containment field will be established around your solar system." Tom's mouth fell open. "You can't. This violates at least 7 interstellar treaties." "The decision is final," Drell said coldly. "You have 6 hours to gather your people and leave council space. Any humans remaining will be removed." Jane stepped forward, her hand instinctively reaching for a weapon that wasn't there. "This is nothing but fear disguised as policy. You're afraid of what humans might become." "Perhaps," Drell admitted. "And that is reason enough." 3 days later, Earth's leaders gathered in the emergency underground chamber beneath the United Nations building in New York. The room buzzed with panic and anger as Tom and Jane finished explaining what had happened. "They've cut us off completely," Tom said, his voice hoarse from hours of talking. "The containment field blocks all standard faster-than-light travel. We're trapped in our own solar system. It's the end of our golden age," moaned the European president, head in hands. "We were just beginning to thrive out there. We'll starve without off-world resources," added another leader. As the room descended into frightened murmurs, General Mark Stone, head of Earth's defense forces, stood up. His weathered face showed not defeat but determination. "You're all missing what really happened," he said, his deep voice cutting through the noise. "For 30 years, we've been the Council's students, following their rules, building within their limits." He walked to the center of the room, looking each leader in the eye. "They think they've caged us? They've merely given us room to grow without their interference." A silence fell over the room as his words sank in. "We won't just survive this," the general continued. "We'll build something greater than anything the Council could imagine. If they don't want us in their galaxy, we'll create our own." One by one, heads began to nod around the table. "The Phoenix Protocol," Jane said suddenly. All eyes turned to her. "That's what we should call it. From these ashes, humanity will rise again." Tom looked around the room, seeing hope replace fear on the faces of Earth's leaders. "All in favor?" he asked. Every hand in the room rose together. 5 years passed in a blur of unified human effort. Dr. Alan Gray stood at the massive window of the moon base Alpha, watching Earth rotate slowly below. His reflection showed a man who had aged beyond his 40 years, with dark circles under his eyes and hair gone prematurely gray. "Dr. Gray, they're ready for you," his assistant said from behind. Alan nodded and turned away from the view. The containment field was invisible to the naked eye, but he had spent those 5 years studying every aspect of it. Now, finally, he had results. The meeting room was filled with Earth's top military and scientific minds. At the head of the table sat Captain Lisa Chen, chosen to lead humanity's first independent voyage beyond the field. "The aliens made one critical mistake," Alan explained, bringing up a hologram of the solar system with the containment field highlighted in red. "They assumed we would try to break it with brute force." He zoomed in on a section near Jupiter. "Instead, we found a frequency resonance point. Their field has a pattern, and patterns have weaknesses." General Mark Stone, now with more gray in his beard, leaned forward. "So Phoenix 1 can actually break through?" "Yes," Alan confirmed. "But only for a short window. They'll need to be precise." Lisa stood up, her uniform crisp and new, emblazoned with Earth's new symbol, a phoenix rising from flames. "My crew is ready. The ship has been tested extensively in Mars orbit." "What about the Council Watchers?" someone asked. "They must suspect something." Tom Reed, the diplomat from the Banishment Day, now an advisor, shook his head. "Our intelligence suggests they've grown complacent. They check the field integrity but don't monitor our activities closely. Their arrogance will be their downfall," Lisa said firmly. "While they've been ignoring us, we've built better ships than they ever shared with us." Across the galaxy, High Counselor Drell received his quarterly report on Earth. "Unusual energy readings near their outer planets," his aide mentioned. "Perhaps weapons testing?" Drell waved a blue hand dismissively. "They are contained and forgotten. Let them play with their toys." The aide hesitated. "Some council members suggest increasing surveillance." "Waste of resources," Drell replied. "Humans had their chance. Their story is over." 1 week later, Phoenix 1 approached the calculated weak point in the containment field. Lisa gripped her captain's chair as the engines powered to maximum. "Breaking point in 3, 2, 1. A flash of blue light engulfed the ship. Then darkness. Then stars, new stars. "We're through," Lisa whispered. "Plot course for target Alpha." The human ship accelerated into the unknown, leaving barely a ripple in the field behind them. The cage was broken. 3 years after Phoenix 1's breakthrough, Earth had established a small but growing presence beyond their solar system. 5 colony ships had followed, setting up mining operations and research outposts in nearby star systems. Ben Howard, Earth's chief diplomat for off-world affairs, stood nervously on the bridge of the diplomatic vessel Peaceseeker as they approached the alien ship. It was unlike any design in the old Council records, organic-looking, with smooth curves and a pulsing blue-green glow. "They're hailing us," his communications officer reported. The main screen flickered to life. The alien had pale green skin with faint patterns like leaf veins. Large, curious eyes studied the humans. "I am Nix of the Trell," the alien said in a melodic voice. "We detected your mining operations." "You are, humans?" Ben stepped forward. "Yes. I'm Ben Howard of Earth. We're surprised to find others in this sector." Nix's expression shifted to what seemed like a smile. "We were banished here. The Council found our questions inconvenient." Ben and his crew exchanged glances. "We share a similar story," he replied carefully. "Then we have much to discuss," Nix said. 1 month later, Earth's leadership gathered to hear Ben's report on the Trell. They were banished 50 years ago for investigating corruption in the Council leadership, Ben explained. "Their expertise in biotechnology surpasses anything the Council shared with us. In exchange, they're fascinated by our propulsion advances." Jane West, now an elder advisor, leaned forward. "Are they trustworthy?" "I believe so," Ben answered. "More importantly, they know of others, species cast out when they became too advanced or asked too many questions." General Stone's eyes gleamed. "An alliance?" "The Trell call it the Outcast Alliance," Ben confirmed. "With Earth, it would include 4 species. Together, we each bring different strengths." Meanwhile, in Council space, Investigator Agent Krell frowned at his scanner readings. His patrol ship had detected unusual activity in a sector that should be empty. "Sending probe," he reported to his base. The small drone vanished into the darkness. Hours later, the probe returned with images that made Krell's eyes widen, a space station of unknown design, with ships of multiple configurations docked alongside it. One of them was unmistakably human in origin. Krell prepared his report, but when he returned to Council space, his superior took one look at the data and deleted it. "This sector is not our concern," the superior said flatly. "But protocol," Krell began. "The Council has spoken," his superior cut him off. "Focus on real threats." As Krell left, confused, he wondered what the Council feared more than humans loose in the galaxy. He would soon find out. 5 years after the formation of the Outcast Alliance, what had begun as a small group of banished species had grown into a force that controlled 30 star systems. 7 different species now worked together, building something unprecedented, a society where differences were valued, not feared. General Sam Wilson stood on the observation deck of Freedom Station, watching as ships from all Alliance members docked and departed. Below him on the main concourse, humans mingled with Trell, Crystalline Lumar, and 4 other species banished by the Council. His aide approached with a tablet. "Sir, he's here." Sam nodded and turned to face the door as Agent Krell entered. The Council investigator looked nervous, his scaled skin shifting colors slightly. "You're certain you weren't followed?" Sam asked. "Yes," Krell replied. "My ship registers as on a standard patrol. No one questions my movements anymore." Sam gestured to a private room. Once sealed inside, Krell produced a data crystal. "This confirms everything," he said. "The Council doesn't banish species for breaking rules, they banish those who might one day challenge their power." Sam examined the files, secret Council minutes, classified reports spanning centuries. "This is why you defected?" "I joined the Council forces to uphold justice," Krell said bitterly. "But there is no justice there, only power." "With this evidence," Sam said, "we can prove to neutral worlds." An alarm blared, cutting him off. Sam rushed to the nearest console. Council ships attacking our mining facility in the Vega system, his aide reported. Sam's expression hardened. So it begins. They can no longer pretend we don't exist. Across Alliance space, similar attacks were underway. The Shadow War had begun. In his war room on the Council homeworld, War Minister Thax reviewed holographic battle reports with satisfaction. The human problem will be resolved within months, he assured High Counselor Drell. Our forces are superior in every way. Drell looked less certain. Reports say they have ships we've never seen before. Primitive copies, Thax dismissed. The Council cruiser Dominance approached the disabled Alliance mining facility, weapons primed for the final blow. Suddenly, 5 ships appeared from behind a nearby moon, ships of a design the Council captain had never seen. Their hulls seemed to absorb scanner beams rather than reflect them. Fire, he ordered. But before his gunners could respond, precise energy beams disabled the Dominance's weapons. A transmission came through. "This is Captain Mira of the Guardian Fleet," a human voice announced. "Your ship is now under Alliance protection. Prepare to be boarded." As Alliance troops secured the Council vessel, news spread rapidly. The humans and their allies weren't just surviving, they were winning. 2 years of increasingly open warfare had transformed the galaxy. The Outcast Alliance was no longer a shadowy group, it was a legitimate power that challenged the Council's supremacy. Dr. Alan Gray, his hair now completely white, walked through the holographic display showing the current state of the galaxy. 1/3 of the map glowed blue, representing Alliance territory. Another third glowed red for loyal Council space. The remainder flickered between colors, contested regions or newly independent worlds. The evidence Agent Krell provided has spread throughout Council space, Alan explained to the Alliance leadership. Rebellions have broken out on 17 worlds. On the far side of the table, a woman with dark skin and fierce eyes nodded. This was Mira, once a minor official on a Council world, now the coordinator of the growing rebellion movement. "My people in the core worlds report that the Council can no longer hide the truth," she said. "Citizens are demanding answers about why so many species were banished." Sam Wilson, now Supreme Commander of Alliance forces, studied the battle projections. "Our forces have the advantage in the outer sectors, but the Council is consolidating its core fleet." Jane West, one of the few original Earth representatives still alive, leaned forward. "What are they planning?" As if in answer, an emergency transmission cut through. The face of an Alliance intelligence officer appeared. "High Counselor Drell has ordered an all-out attack on Earth," the officer reported urgently. "They're gathering a massive fleet. They believe if they destroy humanity, the Alliance will collapse." A cold silence fell over the room. "How much time do we have?" Sam asked. 3 days. "They're mobilizing everything." Sam looked at his fellow leaders. "They think this is their masterstroke. Instead, it will be their downfall." In his private chamber, High Counselor Drell reviewed the attack plans. 100 warships would strike Earth. Nothing would survive. "The humans have been the heart of this rebellion from the beginning," he told his commanders. "Cut out the heart, and the body dies." War Minister Thax looked troubled. "Intelligence reports suggest they may know we're coming." "Impossible," Drell dismissed. "This operation has been our most closely guarded secret." Hidden in the darkness of space, Alliance ships waited in perfect silence, their new stealth technology rendering them invisible to Council scanners. Captain Lisa Chen, her once black hair now streaked with gray, commanded the lead vessel. Her first mission had been breaking through the containment field years ago. Now she would defend the home they had fought so hard to free. "All ships in position," her tactical officer whispered. "Good," Lisa replied softly. "Let them come. The trap is set." As the Council armada emerged from faster-than-light travel, they found not a defenseless Earth, but the full might of the Alliance waiting for them. The battle above Earth lasted only 6 hours, but it changed the galaxy forever. Lisa Chen's trap had worked perfectly. Council ships found themselves caught in a devastating crossfire from Alliance vessels with technology far beyond what the Council had anticipated. Dr. Alan Gray's energy dampening system rendered Council weapons half as effective, while Alliance beams cut through their shields like paper. When the last Council ship surrendered, over 70% of their attack force had been destroyed or captured. High Counselor Drell's flagship managed to escape back to Council space, but the damage was done. News of the defeat spread rapidly through communication channels the Council could no longer control. Tom Reed, now an elder statesman with decades of diplomatic experience, stood before the Alliance Leadership Council 1 week later. "The momentum is with us," he said, his voice still strong despite his age. "Council space is in chaos. 3 more core worlds have declared independence. Their military is in disarray." General Sam Wilson nodded in agreement. "This is our chance. We take the fight to them, to their very capital." The bold plan, Operation Freedom Dawn, was approved unanimously. 1 month later, Alliance ships appeared above the Council homeworld. The defending fleet, depleted from the failed Earth assault, couldn't mount an effective resistance. As Alliance ground forces landed on the Council planet, High Counselor Drell and his inner circle retreated to the Council chamber, the same room where Earth had been banished 16 years earlier. Sam Wilson led the assault team that breached the chamber's doors. Armed with a simple pistol, he stepped through the smoke to find Drell and the remaining Council members huddled around their sacred table. "You have lost," Sam stated simply. Drell's blue skin had paled to a sickly gray. "You cannot comprehend what you've done. The Council has maintained order for 10,000 years. Order built on fear and oppression," Sam replied. "Your era is over." As Alliance soldiers secured the chamber, Sam approached the High Counselor. "I've always wondered," Sam said. "Why did you fear humans so much? What did we do that warranted banishment?" Drell looked at him with ancient, weary eyes. "Because we saw what you would become," he answered quietly. "And we were right to be afraid." Sam looked around at the fallen Council, the once mighty power that had cast Earth aside. "Your mistake wasn't in fearing us," he said. "It was in making us your enemy instead of your ally." As Drell was led away, Sam transmitted a simple message to Alliance headquarters: "Council chamber secured. The galaxy enters a new age." 6 months after the fall of the Council, representatives from over 30 species gathered on Earth. The location was symbolic. The planet once banished was now the center of a new galactic order. The new Galactic Assembly building stood where the old United Nations had once been. Its grand chamber featured a circular arrangement of seats, ensuring all species sat as equals. Jane West, one of the last survivors from the original banishment day, opened the proceedings. At 87 years old, her body was frail, but her voice remained commanding. 17 years ago, we were cast out because we asked too many questions, she began. Today, we welcome all who seek to build rather than rule, to cooperate rather than dominate. Former Council worlds had been invited as equals. Some had accepted, others remained isolated, fearful of retribution. But the door remained open to all. Tom Reed, his hair now white as snow, was elected as the first chairman of the Galactic Federation. As he took the center position, he could hardly believe how far they had come from that dark day of banishment. "Our first act," he announced, "will be to dismantle all remaining containment fields around isolated worlds. No species shall be imprisoned for their potential." The vote was unanimous. Outside the chamber, General Sam Wilson stood with Nix of the Trell and the other original Alliance members. They watched the proceedings on a large screen. "Did you ever imagine this when you broke through the containment field?" Nix asked. Sam smiled. Not exactly. But humans have always been good at turning exile into opportunity. 1 year later, a memorial was unveiled in the center of the Assembly Plaza. It depicted a containment field breaking apart as a phoenix rose through it. Nearby, a new education center opened its doors. Inside, children of many species sat together, learning the history of their shared galaxy. Before we finish today's lesson, the teacher said, remember our founding principle: all intelligent beings deserve a voice in shaping our future. A young human-Trell hybrid child raised her hand. Teacher, why did the old council fear humans so much? The teacher smiled. Perhaps because humans don't see limits, they see possibilities. As evening fell, Tom and Jane stood on the balcony of the Federation building, watching ships from dozens of worlds peacefully orbiting Earth. They thought banishing us would be our end, Tom said softly. Jane smiled, looking at the stars that had once been forbidden. Instead, it was just our beginning. Above them, the galaxy continued to unfold, greater and more just than the Council could have ever imagined.